Let me tell you something unexpected. Almost every single one of my boldest decisions started with fear. Many of you know me as Krista. In my family growing up, I was known as the scaredy cat. Almost everything made me nervous, and that matriculated into how I grew up. I often found that some of the biggest steps that I had to take in my life started with fear. But here's what I learned and what I developed over time. Fear did not have to be a stop sign for me. Instead, it became a signal that I was actually in uncharted territory, probably on the precipice of something really big. And I want to share that same story with you. Fear does not have to be a stop sign. It can be an opportunity to recognize that there might be some uncertainty ahead, but it does not have to dominate or conquer you. Psychologist Dr. Susan Jeffers wrote a book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And essentially in her book, she talks about how fear is a part of growth and sometimes is a signal to point you towards some of your greatest opportunities. And Harvard researcher Amy Edmondson talks about how some of the boldest leaders often find ways to step into uncertain territories. They identify that there is not a reason to stop, but an opportunity for them to push forward despite what might be going on. I'll give you an example of what I mean when I say some of my boldest decisions started with fear. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, I decided to step away from stability, a constant paycheck, and what many felt like was the best part of my career. However, I knew there was an opportunity to do much more. And I started not one, but 2 startup companies in partnership with some of my business partners. And it was an opportunity for me to really step into the gifts and talents that I knew would bring about a big change for the work that we were trying to do for folks that we wanted to serve. Fast forward, not only were those businesses successful, but it was an opportunity for me to flex a muscle of recognizing what happens when I push past fear and step into a big adventure. The same is true as we think about life today. There might be moments when you're standing at a crossroad, when you know the uncertainty is rising up, the fear almost feels immobilizing. I want you to recognize that there are 3 things that you can do to push past it and keep moving. The first is to name it and shame it. Name the fear and shame it. Recognize that the fear does not mean that it's attached to your capability, your insights, and your ability to do something different. But calling it out and saying what it is takes away the sting of it being able to conquer you. The second thing is to recognize that doubt is something that can be normalized. As humans, our brains are trained to prioritize safety, but there's research that points to different ways that we can retrain our brain and actually find ways on how we can introduce ourselves to small, low-risk scenarios that teach our brain over time how to combat uncertainty with empowered action. And the third and final thing is act small for big, bold change. Sometimes micro boldness, or what I like to say, taking consistent and small incremental steps of change, actually lead to big transformation over time. You teach your body, your friends, teams, whoever you work with, that there are incremental things that you can do over time that will create a culture and an atmosphere of recognizing that you can do bold things more often than not. These 3 techniques are different ways that you can use anytime fear shows up before you've got to make a big or bold decision. If something that I said today resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe or hit the notification bell or even share it with a friend that also needs to hear it too.